All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, back for another week of Just a Fan podcast. First, let me introduce the fellas, and then we're going to get into the show. That direction, Trish TV, the quarterback that runs the show. As you can see, it says QB1 underneath his name. Okay? Down below, panel 316. The good guy with the black hat, it says the NFC best. And he ain't lying, because I tell you, man, them 49ers, man, they definitely have been the best in the conference. Matter of fact, right before we went live, we was talking about the 49ers in this NFC West. And what's up, Eric James? Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. All right. Now y'all still can't see me, can you? Oh no, you can now.
Yeah,
okay.
Nope,
Little bit. All right. Well, anyway,
in and out of the wall like your vision.
Yeah. So anyway, Okay. So anyway, we was talking about who the best team in the NFC West, and it's definitely clear it's been San Francisco over the last 5 years. San Francisco has been to 2 Super Bowls. Unfortunately for Eric, losing. What's up, Cleveland?
What up, Cleveland?
Losing 2 Super Bowls both to Kansas City. They lost the NFC Championship game to Philadelphia. Lost another NFC Championship game to, what was it, Green Bay?
No, that was the Rams.
The Rams. Okay, correction, the Rams. And so
they got their little fluky Super Bowl.
So the 49ers have been to 4 NFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowls, and like I said, they just been the best team the last 5 years. But, Kyle Shanahan, for some reason, hasn't learned his lesson from his time as an OC in Atlanta, when you are literally up 28-3. And like I told Eric in the green room, I said, listen, man, I know people sit here and make fun of the Falcons, and rightfully so, for being up 28-3 and losing the Super Bowl, but you were up 28-3. You have the best run scheme probably in NFL history. The only thing that probably comes close to it is the freaking Packers power sweep. You have 2 running backs, and yes, New England's a disciplined defense, and they know their gaps and stuff and run discipline. Okay, I get that, but you could have you could have made it a heavyweight fight in the second half of the Super Bowl and try to win that game. You come over to San Francisco, you become a head coach, you build this fantastic roster. Okay? I'm not a 49ers fan at all. Get tired of losing to them. But they have a fantastic roster. No one will ever debate that. But you tell me you still can't come out of here with at least 1 Super Bowl ring? You haven't learned a thing, Kyle. And so when Pando sit here and goes off on Kyle Shanahan and stuff, I understand. I rightfully understand. I don't get it. I'm not trying to make this a San Francisco show, but it was just something we was talking about. But looking at the rest of the NFC West, Arizona. When we go through the rankings, I give even more details about how I feel about each team. But Arizona, to me, they still in rebuild mode. The Rams, to me, I think they're in rebuild mode, but they need to do something at quarterback. Like I said, I'll get into that later. Seattle, they definitely made a change. New head coach, new culture, new defense, new offense, everything. So, um, before we get to you, Pando, Tristan, you got anything you want to say about the NFC West?
All I got to say is that we really should have called this the Eric Wright show or the Pando show because I mean we know once he starts talking about the 49ers, we're just here to have the popcorn and viewership. That's all. But
I take offense to that.
but
I'm a serious analyst, and it
You
just so
are.
happens that we are covering the division that my team is in, and and everybody else was too scared to come on the show.
I'm
By the
gonna say
way,
I'm gonna say these couple things. Um, because I too am very serious. And I did take the time to really, because I don't really care about the NFC West, because I'm like the 49ers in the division. It's the same thing I feel about the AFC West. It's the Chiefs and everybody else. It's the 49ers and everybody else. But
Exactly.
I did take time to look and see what was going on with the other three teams in the division. Now, what I will say, I'm not saying they're going to do anything. I think they're still going to be terrible. I think there's way too many holes on the roster. I'm just really intrigued to see Marvin Harris's son with Kyler Murray. Now this year, now I understand he had gotten that contract extension and all that stuff, but this really is the year to really let you know who Kyler Murray is as a quarterback in the NFL. Now they're hemmed up with that contract, but
Mm,
that doesn't mean that they're not going to start planning for the future without him if there's not significant improvement, especially with all the stuff that went on about the whole thing of he doesn't study, plays Call of Duty more than anything, and all that stuff. Blah 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 blah. I do have a thing about quarterbacks from the Lincoln Riley tree. I think Lincoln Riley makes it very easy for them to um, um, air out the football because of the schemes he put together. And I feel like you have to scheme these kind of players when they don't think with their brain. Now, listen, I love athletic quarterbacks. I love to see quarterbacks that are dynamic, i.e., Lamar Jackson's, the Michael Vicks of the world, Cam Newton's, Donovan McNabb's, Randall Cunningham's. I mean, I can go down the list. But at the end of the day, when you look at the Super Bowls, the one common theme outside of the 2000 Ravens and such, and outside of the 2002, 2003 Buccaneers, outside of certain teams like that, your quarterback needed to be able to process information and throw that football from the pocket. Didn't matter how athletically gifted they were, didn't matter how fast they were, none of that mattered. You needed to play the quarterback position from the neck up in order to win the Super Bowl. It didn't matter. We watched Donovan McNabb choke on it. We saw Cam Newton have one of his worst games of his career in the
hmm.
Super Bowl. It does not. You got to be able to play from the neck up. There's a
Thank
reason
you.
why we don't see these guys like that. The reason why Steve Young finally people in the sea going back to the 49ers thing is, and I know Eric's going to agree with me on this. The reason why Steve Young finally got over the hump was that he realized, oh, I can't just run around and just throw this thing all over the yard. I need to actually play this like Joe Montana. I need to actually be able to think and process this information. So that's how Steve Young got over the hump. People forget that Steve Young was the original, really the original record holder for rushing yards in a season for quarterback.
I'm gonna differ with you just a little bit on that because if you go back and look, Steve Young won the NFL passing title 4 straight seasons in a row before that Super Bowl. The Niners were trying to get over the hump. It wasn't Steve Young's fault. It was the fact that the defense couldn't keep up with the Dallas Cowboys, and that was the most of the additions that were made in that '94 season were defensive players.
Oh no,
Yes, it
for sure.
was. It
Yeah, for
was.
sure.
That's what
What
it
I'm
was.
saying, and what I'm saying is not that he was bad or anything, but I remember him. I remember. Well, I don't remember him because I was too young at the time. But I remember the stories that my dad would talk about because my mom was a big 49ers fan. My dad was a Raiders fan, so we always hear about the 49ers. And I remember hearing my dad talk about him coming out of BYU and how athletic he was, but had a good arm, and he had the feel for the game. The greatest contribution to his career was the fact that he got to, because he dealt with that whole fiasco with the Bucks and all that stuff, but he got to learn from Joe Montana and watch it and see how mentally prepared Joe was. And so you have to be able to play that. Like, we call a guy that's the GOAT that ran a 5'9", like on 6 flat in the combine for the quarterback spot. Like, we call him the GOAT. Didn't have the biggest arm.
Who one time? Who also? I'm sorry, Coach. Also, one time was a 7th-string quarterback at Michigan.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like, there has to come a point in time where you have to be able to play the quarterback position. It's why I always regret about what happened with Andrew Luck, because I felt like in this modern era of football, now we got Patrick Mahomes is kind of doing it now. But Andrew Luck before that was the guy where you saw physical gift and mental gift come together perfectly. And it was like, ooh, he ain't got no flaws. Like, that's what we're looking at. So I say all that to say, getting back to my point, I'm interested to see what Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to do, but Kyler Murray has to prove a lot more so than what everybody's talking about. Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. What you see when you see wide receivers like that, most of the time they end up panning out. They end up becoming who they are.
Exactly.
It's Kyler Murray that we need to see who he is. Is he an athlete that just so happens to play the quarterback position, or is he a quarterback that's an athlete? That's what we got to see.
Thank you. Are you working on your craft? It goes back to that. Back to that.
As far as the Rams are concerned, I feel like out of everybody, the Rams will give you kind of like a puncher's chance. I know we're like the post the Aaron Donald era, so I don't think anybody's really concerned with the Rams defense, but it's still pretty decent even without Aaron Donald. Like, when I looked at the roster on paper, I was like, this is not a bad defense. And then when I look at the offensive weapons, let me see if Sean McVay can change his spots and be a little more smash mouth. I would give the Rams an edge to compete for second. Like, I would be like, okay, because you still got your outside weapons. Cooper Kupp had a down year, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. I don't think he'll be the Triple Crown guy that he was, but I feel like he'll have a better season than what he had. We see the boy. What's the boy name?
Puka.
Thank you. He's emerged as a solid, if nothing else, like a solid 2+. And you see what they're doing with the running back stables that they got. I feel like Sean McVay is going to kind of try and change the spots a little bit, kind of give a little more of a smash mouth, get Matt Stafford in a place where he can do some more play action and things like that, where you can use Matt Stafford's golden arm in like rare occasions, because it's still a great arm. It's just not as lethal as it probably was when he was younger. He's getting old. He's long in the tooth. So, and their offensive line is pretty okay. So I feel like they can give you. I feel like they would give me a run for the second or whatever. I know we ain't doing the rankings yet, but that y'all know. And then as far as the Seahawks, I really don't know what to say about the Seahawks. I feel like they're one of the bigger enigmas going into the season. Pete Carroll's no longer the head coach. Was Geno Smith a one-off? Because the thing about Pete Carroll, even though he's a defensive-minded coach, he gets his quarterbacks to play. You've seen it in college, you've seen it in pro. And then when they go elsewhere, they are not the same. So I don't know what Geno we're going to get with this new head coach. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not solid on their offensive line. I understand that the receiving core is great, but their run game scheme was kind of wonky. Now that's probably going to change because, new coaching staff. I get all that. We'll see what happens. And then they're just really a big enigma to me. Their defense, it's got certain spots here and there, but enigma. That's all I can say. When I think of the Seahawks, enigma. I don't know what you're gonna. It's like a jack in the box. I don't know what it's gonna get until it pops. I have no idea. And the 49ers are the 49ers. The only thing that's stopping the 49ers is their head coach at this point. It's a well-oiled machine. I mean, We know Brandon Ayuk is going to be back in that uniform. So I mean, when you look at the offense, where's your weak point? Where is it? Your offensive line is
I'm gonna
solid.
get to that in a minute. Yeah,
You
I'm gonna
got
get to that in a minute.
You got a Hall of Fame left tackle. Your offensive line is solid. You got the best running back in the game, arguably one of the best players, top 5 players in the game, in Christian McCaffrey. You got Debo, all world. Brandon Ayuk, the best pure receiver on your roster, just as a pure receiver on your roster.
Top 2 tight end.
Top 2 tight end in Kittle. Like, we'll be talking about Kittle more if Travis Kelce didn't exist with Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you.
Then you go on the defensive side of the ball. You got your best middle linebacker in football. You got your, your Troy Polamalu light that's coming back off of injury. Your defensive line is still solid. You got
Bosa
over there.
Hargrave.
So Hargrave for your defensive line. And then, the slight weakness in the corners, but it's not really too much of weakness because the way the defense is schemed, it kind of covers that for y'all. So,
really, the only weak at corner 2, because corner 1 is Ward.
So
Various Ward, who's a second team All Pro.
Yeah, so
it's like Kyle Shanahan is the kryptonite for the 49ers.
That's
really what it is.
At the end of the day. All right, now I know Eric wants to get going. I want to rewind to something you brought up, very interesting about Lincoln Riley quarterbacks, Tristan. It's not just his quarterbacks; it's just air raid quarterbacks in general. Tim Couch was an air raid quarterback. Yep. Jared Goff has rebounded. Brandon Whedon was an air raid quarterback. Manziel was an air raid quarterback. Yep. Kevin Cobb was a solid backup as in the NFL, so I'll give him a pass.
Philly was the only city that thought Kevin Cobb was going to become something. It was only Philadelphia. No one else. Everybody said he was a backup.
That's true. Geno Smith was an air raid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
John Beck was an air raid quarterback. Nick Foles was an air raid quarterback.
You said John Beck. Why you cussing me like that, man?
Jeez. My bad. Josh Heupel was an air raid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Kingsbury was an air raid quarterback. Case Keenum. Case Keenum had that one season in Minnesota, and I just felt like that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at some of these other guys: Graham Harrell, Jared Lorenzen. Yeah, man. That's
rest in peace.
Yeah. Rest in peace to him. So really, the only true air raid quarterback to really have success is Patrick Mahomes. But that's not because of the air raid system. It was because of Andy Reid.
Andy Reid and Alex Smith. Retooled them. Reprogrammed them.
Yeah, you right. There you go. So say that again. Say that word again. They what?
Reprogrammed them.
Thank you. Because that air raid system, man.
It's
great in high school. It's great in college. That stuff get to the NFL. It's like, oh my goodness.
NFL defenses are too sophisticated for that. You're asking your quarterback to kind of look vertically, even when they have crossing routes, even when they have post routes, out routes in the play. You're still asking them to look vertically. Once the defensive coordinator realizes that that's all you really know, and you really don't know how to really process from 1 to 3 to 4, they're going to annihilate you. That's what ends up happening.
Thank you. Because a smart defensive coordinator can sit there and change coverage rotations like no tomorrow, and he will get his front guys after the quarterback.
Exactly.
All right, Eric, I know you're ready.
Well, because we would talk about Kyler Murray.
Cool. This is when I can walk away from the microphone. Go ahead, do your thing, Eric.
Wait, what did he say?
I was saying I can walk away from the mic and just listen to you.
Okay, so basically, we're talking about Kyler Murray. That's one of the reasons why I don't have any faith in the Arizona Cardinals doing anything in this division. We'll get into our picks and everything, but we're kind of doing it unconventionally tonight because it's like, and I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of the 49ers. I'm saying this just outright. If I was not a 49er fan, I would still be saying that they're going to win this division outright, barring injury. That's the only thing that's going to keep them from winning this division is like a slew of injuries. They kind of happened in 2020. But if everybody stays healthy, there's not a roster in this division that matches up. And then 8 times out of 10, there's not a coaching staff in this division that can match up with Kyle Shanahan. it pained me to say that. It really pained me to say that, but it's the truth. The thing is that going back talking about Kyler Murray, Arizona's doing well. They did pretty decent in the offseason. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like they didn't. The addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. That's big. Isaiah Adams, offensive lineman. Max Milton, there's a young corner. Sean Murphy Bunton, he's an okay corner. Jonah Williams, they did some things along the front line, and then they also did some things with the receiving core, the DBs receiving core. And it makes you say, okay, but the X factor in Arizona is Kyler Murray.
Sure is.
I don't believe in Kyler Murray until he makes me believe. Period. Until he makes me believe, I don't believe in him. When he played, because we watched him play when he was in high school, at Allen High School in the North Texas area, and his entire high school and college career was not based upon like what Tristan was talking about, playing from the neck up. It was based on I'm the best athlete on the field, pretty much. So I'm going to improvise. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to win games or whatever like that. And you can get away with that in high school. You can get away with it in college.
Yep.
You cannot get away with that loosey-goosey, devil-may-care type of playing in the NFL because they're gonna scheme for that and they're going to eat your lunch, just like the Niners have been able to do with them for the last, however long Kyler Murray's been in the league. And then you go back and you look at it even further, the speculation about him not studying, not being serious about it, because his mentality is, I've been doing it this way my whole career. I can do it in the NFL. He's like, no, you can't. You play good teams, they gonna eat your lunch.
He still steps on the field thinking he's the best athlete on the field,
and he's not. He's not even the tallest athlete on the field. He ain't the tallest person on the field. They got officials taller than him. But the chain gang guys are taller than him. The ball boys might be some ball boys that are taller than him, honestly. But the thing is that the one time that they got into the playoffs, they played the Rams and they got annihilated. Y'all remember that? Got annihilated. Yep. Got embarrassed. I mean, just the Rams stood on their necks. And it's like that. We haven't seen it since, from Arizona. Until Kyler Murray can shut us up, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be at the bottom of this division. Period. That's it. And this is our next to last division that we're covering this week. We're going to cover AFC West next week. But I really wish there was somebody who was an Arizona Cardinal fan who would be willing to come on the show and debate with me and say, tell me why I'm wrong.
You know why there aren't any Arizona Cardinal fans?
Because they suck.
Because Larry Fitzgerald retired.
Oh, they bandwagon fans. So their favorite player retires and then they not the fans?
Listen, I tell people all the time, I barely heard of any Arizona fan before Larry Fitzgerald. I know some people were there for Anquan Boldens of the world.
Yep.
Some that were
maybe Kurt Warner.
The Kurt Warner era. Again with Larry Fitzgerald. That's about it.
He ain't lying though. He ain't lying.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like people like that. I can't think of, like, if you pick a team and you stay with your team, no matter who leaves or who goes. There's speculation that because Deebo Samuel is a free agent after this season coming. There's speculation that they may let Deebo walk in free agency. Guess what? I love Deebo Samuel. He's one of my favorite players. But that's not going to stop me from being a Niners fan. You know what I'm saying? I just, I'm just not going to do that,
Man, sure, I've seen Cowboy players come and go like crazy, man.
Exactly. You stick with your team. I respect people who stick with their team, thick and thin, win or lose, good or bad.
You know I'm loyal. You see the psycho,
Hey,
psycho
look,
franchise
hey,
I
look,
root for.
hey, look, man. 24 years of Dan Snyder, man. Shoot, you definitely loyal. You more loyal than me and Pando combined.
No
Yeah.
one can question my loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Niners fan since. Y'all remember when Dennis Erickson was coaching the Niners?
Yeah, I do.
I was a Niners fan before that. Okay, so I've been there through the dark times, and which brings me to the next team I'm finna talk about, the Seattle Seahawks, and their bandwagon of 12s. You had, in 2012, you had Seahawks fans all over the place. I ain't talking about the people that live there. Shout out to the people who live in the Pacific Northwest who are Seattle fans. You guys are real. I mean, I wish one of y'all would be willing to come on the show and have me eviscerate your whole stance on how good you think your team is, but you're not gonna do that. I mean, TikTok is worldwide. It ain't, YouTube is worldwide. We've been asking people to come on the show. Like, I ain't seen nobody step up. So anytime somebody want to step in the ring with Pando 316, you let me know. But anyway, getting back to Seattle, they were Seattle fans all over the place. Oh my goodness. When Legion of Boom, Dangerous, Beast Mode, those are some good teams.
It was.
Short period of time, they dominated my team.
Well, even pre LOB, the Matt Hasselbeck with Sean Alexander, Nate Burleson, it was a decent squad.
Warren Robinson at wide receiver with Daryl Jackson, Walter Jones at left tackle, Steve Hutchinson at left guard.
And I hear all that, but it wasn't as rabid as it was in 2012. 2012,
for sure.
It was a cult. And I was sitting there watching all of these people who I knew had rooted for other teams all of a sudden call themselves Seahawks team fans. My Seahawks this, my Seahawks that. And I'm like, you can't tell me who Kurt Warner is, and I ain't talking about the quarterback.
Ain't talking about the QB.
Yeah. You can't tell me who used to hold a touchdown record. Steve Largent. You can't tell me who Steve Largent is. But you a Seahawks fan? Get out of my face.
I said when tell you about the boss.
And I said, you mark Brian Bosworth. I said, you mark my words. I said, as soon as Seattle starts to fall off, we ain't gonna hear nothing from you. And look at him. You ain't. That's why I be like, what's a Seahawks fan?
What's a Seahawks fan?
What's a Seahawks fan? Especially in my neck of the woods.
I only know two legitimate Seahawks fans, and they're both girls, and they like them. They've liked them for years because of the colors. They're the only two.
Oh Lord. Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of fake fandom in the NFC West, and like the only diehards, and we have a saying as 49ers fans, we say forever faithful. We'll dog our team out if they're not doing well, but we still fans of the team. We're not going nowhere. Like when we were really bad and Seattle was whooping our tail, and even when we were kind of good and Seattle was still beating us, we like, hey, we still here. Yeah, y'all got us, but we coming back. And sure enough, now it didn't got so bad. We be beating Seattle 3 times a year now. Like, oh, you made the playoffs, so it's time for you to go home. Going back to the Pacific Northwest. But Seattle has the same problem. As I digress from my point, I'm getting back to my point. Seattle has the same problem that Arizona has. This quarterback play. Geno Smith had a one-off season where he was kind of decent. Then he had another halfway decent season last year. But he is not good enough to get them to win this division, much less compete for a championship.
He said, "Don't write him off, Eric." He said, "Don't write him off."
I ain't got no pens or pencils.
He said he ain't gonna write you back.
I ain't got his address or his email. So there's that.
Well,
yeah.
When we get to rankings, I'm gonna say my reason why I think Geno Smith that one season is what it is, and that's you ain't getting nothing else out of it. So I hope y'all enjoyed it.
I'm gonna tell y'all like this. They had folks when Geno Smith was coming out of school, people was telling me what a great player he was gonna be. I said he gonna be traded.
He was
I had people who physically wanted to fight me because I said that. I said he was
supposed to be a top 10 pick.
I said he's going to be a journeyman quarterback. He's going to probably land around his third or fourth team and manage to stay there, but he'll never be what y'all think he is. Man, you crazy. No, sir. No, sir. Stop it right now. I said that before his name got called on draft day, and nobody believed me. Nobody.
That's why I still applaud the Seahawks. Now I will applaud them for this. When they gave him the extension, that thing was really team friendly because they was like, all right, we like you, you did good, but well, we don't think you're gonna do that again, so we're gonna give you this contract. So
because they knew what they had.
They said we ain't got no quarterback on the horizon right now that we can, let you go and go with. So we just gonna appease you for these couple of years, but we definitely gonna draft another quarterback. We gonna do that.
Yeah. So and then you look at just the roster. That Jordan Brooks and Devin Bush, that can't be understated. Those linebackers, those are huge losses.
Man,
huge. And now Bobby Wagner is, even though he was older, he was still playing at a high level. He's gone. The best part of Seattle's team, if to not bash them, to look like I'm bashing them or anything, the best part of that team is those defensive backs. That's that cornerback room. That cornerback room is amazing.
Yeah. I'm trying to go back to that roster real quick.
Yeah, I like that cornerback room. They have some solid cornerbacks. But that's the strength of that team, and that's it. And you can get around that by running down their throat, like pretty much everybody else does. The receivers, y'all know, me and Brandon on the same page with this. DK Metcalf is a physical specimen, but he's not a route technician, and he also is a petulant child. He is so immature. And it's like you can get in his head and you can get him to commit penalties and everything else in the game. And it's like in big games, he's shown he's done that, and he lose games for you.
He's a 6'4", 235 pound wide receiver who's fast. He's strong because he stays in the weight room, but like outside of that, there's really nothing special about him. If he was, knock on wood, if he was to suffer a lower injury that slowed him down, he would be in trouble.
He'd be a tight end.
Well, the thing about it is now they said he's been trying to work on his route running a little more this offseason. So I'd like to see what it looks like going into the season. But at the same token, he low key may have the TO gene. It just don't seem like you can really break him per se. Now, yeah, if he has a bad injury, he ain't gonna be the same because he's really relying on the physical gifts that he has. Being
that's what it is. I'm telling you.
Big,
and also
he's
not mentally tough.
He's not mentally tough.
Another problem. I'm sorry. Another problem I have with DK Metcalf, and I know you're talking about he's working on his route running. The boy can't turn.
Thank you.
Yeah,
DK Metcalf cannot turn. You can work on your route running, and that's fine. But there's some routes that really, really make you turn, and I mean you have to turn.
But they might not have to. They look at the receiver they drafted from Ohio State. So
I get that part, but
so you're not asking. You're just not asking DK to do those things. Well, you got Tyler Lockett and Nigba,
Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know, but
you're not gonna look for DK. You want DK to keep being the physical specimen that he is. You're not looking for him to do any of the rest of that.
Well, how old is he now? 26. He turns 27 later. Okay,
he's probably got a good barring injury. He's probably got 2-3 years where he could play at this kind of level.
I agree because he's gonna start slowing down, and it's gonna really be easy to clamp up on him.
Yeah, but again, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Brandon about his lack of change of direction because I mean that's what route running is. How easily you can change direction, how smoothly you can change direction without losing speed, and he's stiff hipped.
Yeah, well, go back to his combine numbers. He did what was it? 7.23 3-cone drill, and I was like,
his cone drill was horrible.
When I saw the cone drill, I said, this man cannot turn at all. This boy,
but again, at Ole Miss. They didn't ask him to. He was bigger,
I get it,
stronger, and faster than everybody.
Hey, I understand, and I will not argue with you about that. All I'm saying is the boy just can't turn. So you can sit there and work on your route running all you want to. If you cannot turn, you're not going to be able to do certain routes. You might as well just stick with the slants, the posts, the go route, and maybe in the corner route, and that's about
Deep
it.
corner. Yeah, deep corner route.
Deep corner
Yeah,
route, that's it.
yeah. He has a limited route tree, and Tyler Lockett's not getting any younger.
Not because he's in his 30s already.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to put a lot of their eggs in the Jackson Smith and Jigba basket, which we gonna have to wait and see. And that's the thing. A lot of these things with like Arizona, with Seattle, and I'm about to get to LA. It's a lot of wait and see stuff with young players.
It really is, isn't it?
And whereas you look at a team like San Francisco, you know what they're gonna get.
And that's why I asked you in the green room. I said, how many people does San Francisco really have to lose for them not to win the division? Because you brought up a good point just now, Eric. It's a lot of wait and see with the other three teams. We don't know what Colin. We've talked about this, and we started talking about this last week in the group chat. You have to work on your craft as a quarterback. Kyler Murray has not done that, so that's a wait and see. Okay, we have an idea of what Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to do. We have an idea. Okay, we 95 to 99.9% believe he's going to do what he's going to do.
He's going to be all world. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Rams wait and see because of Stafford got to stay healthy. You mentioned Eric in the green room. The backup quarterback for Stafford is Jimmy Garoppolo. Good luck with that.
That's hilarious.
Down.
That's hilarious.
Yep. If Stafford gets hurt, you forget.
Which Stafford is injury prone as well. So
and then Seattle, you're looking at Geno Smith as the quarterback, and it's like
you don't even know if he's going to start the season or throughout the season.
Right, because you got Sam Howell behind him.
Okay, and I think Sam Howell is going to eventually be better than him.
I agree. There may come a time because we are talking about a new coach that's not loyal to Geno Smith.
Not loyal to Geno.
Thank you.
So there may come a time midway through the season if Geno ain't cutting the mustard, then
Sam Howell gonna get in.
Yeah, Sam Howell could get in
because despite how it ended for him in Washington, people saw that boy in them first like 5-6 games, and they said, "No, he can play a little bit. He can play a little bit.
He can play.
You get proper coaching under that, it might be all right." And again, he's still cheap, so the new coach can be like, "Hey, I could work with this kid and build the roster around this kid, and we can make some noise."
That's what they're going to do because Geno Smith is not his quarterback. That's not his investment. He has nothing invested in Geno Smith whatsoever.
Nope.
Nothing.
And they can get out of that contract anytime they want because again, they made it friendly.
Yes, they did. They made it very. Matter of fact, let me go back and look at it real quick because, where is it? Even though it was a 3-year contract and it was a lot of money, we looked at it. We looked at the full details of it, and I cannot find the details I want for it. Let me see. Go to Spoke Track. Here we go. When we looked at the details, the complete details of it, we was like, oh, shoot, yeah, they about to get out of this if they need to. I know Geno's 34 already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really not they not invested in him at all.
Nope.
No, sir.
So hold on. Okay, after this season, if they cut him, they're gonna take a $13.5 million hit. And so to me, that means he'll probably be a post-June 1st cut, which means they're gonna cut that thing in half. And you're looking at him probably, and he probably won't get another job anywhere unless he's just a backup again.
He'll be a backup somewhere.
He'll have to be a backup.
But all that what you're saying right there is just proof to the point that we're saying he's expendable. He's expendable as a starter, first of all.
Yes.
And then he could be expendable for that roster based on his salary and then based on his performance, of course. So moving on, we're talking about LA. Matt Stafford, and I'm not saying this, I'm a Niner fan, but I don't really, I don't like the Rams, but Matt Stafford is so broken up at this point in his career where he's one good hit away from that's it. You know, honestly, remember the elbow injury last year?
Yeah.
Where we were looking at like, okay, is he gonna play again after this? Because you know the arm strength is not there. He doesn't have the athleticism he used to have.
And that's why I said Sean McVay is going to have to change his spots.
Yeah,
Because
really
what you wanted
is.
from Matt Stafford, the reason you traded him, you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish is to get the Super Bowl because you traded him because you knew that arm was special. That arm ain't special no more.
Nope.
You're gonna see flashes of it.
Yep.
But it's gonna be very, very far and few in between.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you guys a question. And I could be reaching. So if I'm reaching, just say, Brandon, you're reaching. Did that little incident with his wife might get into his head this season?
Nah, one thing I will always say with Matt Stafford is that boy is country tough. I will never ever allow anyone to tell me Matt Stafford is soft.
Yeah, no, he's tough.
No, I'm not saying y'all saying it. I'm saying I would never allow anyone.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Mentally, like he's mentally weak. No.
Yeah, now his wife trash, but I'm just saying. But
right.
Yeah,
but he'll be fine.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. That ain't even football. That's like The View or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I was just making sure.
If we had a Patreon, that'd be on the Patreon.
Yeah, that'd be on the Patreon. Yeah, but she trash. But more power to you, Matt. I wouldn't stay with him, but maybe you didn't get a prenup. Maybe you didn't get a prenup, brother. But after she put that out there like that, no, you got to go somewhere else. But talking about the Rams, there's another big loss right there. Aaron Donald in the middle.
Aaron Donald
on that defensive line, who basically moves all around that defensive line.
So basically, they're relying on the edge rusher and the D tackle, both from Florida State. They're relying on those two to kind of be the supplement of him.
And again, that's another wait and see.
There's another wait and see because they're both rookies. They were great. They were great as a tandem at Florida State. I remember watching it. It was great, but it's still a wait and see.
And I'm not convinced that line is it's better than it was. I'm gonna say that.
I don't know any of their linebackers.
Well, that's another thing. That's linebackers. I was talking about offensive line, though.
No, I know. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the roster, and
their offensive line is not terrible. It's decent.
Now the secondary got some names.
The secondary is pretty solid.
They went and picked up Cam Curl, who I have a lot of respect for.
And then they got Tre'Davious White.
Yep.
Yeah.
He got to stay healthy.
He has to stay healthy. But there's ways around, those top players like that. Shanahan can scheme around that because guess what? It's not a big game. But
I think they're hoping that old boy from Florida State will be a difference maker in his rookie year.
They got to wait. And that's the thing.
All
three of these teams. What's his name?
He was highly talked about early on in the season, and Florida State played so bad that it fell off when
Braden Fisk.
Oh, Braden Fisk. What was it? Hold on. Where's he at?
Jared Verse. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse.
Jared Verse is the one I'm talking about. Fisk is the D tackle that they paired. They were the tandem, but Verse was the one that everyone talked about early on as like the best. They thought he was going to be the best defender.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
But Florida State played so terribly when old boy Francis went down to the quarterback position. It kind of took Verse out of the game because Florida State was always playing catch up. Yep.
Yeah. They got that running back from Michigan, Blake Corum. He's really going to tote that rock this year.
But that's what I'm saying. Sean McVay's got to change his ways.
Sean McVay is going to have to get into more of a rough house.
Yes.
Basically, a boxing match in a phone booth type of.
Yeah, exactly.
And allow Matt Stafford to run play action because you'll
Under
get some of
center.
those special moments. Yes, under center,
Yep.
because you'll get some of those special moments from Matt Stafford here and there that will win you some games still.
Yep.
But when you look at who's at the top of the division in the San Francisco 49ers, who have been boxing in phone booths for the last 5 years, and you just starting to do it, it don't bode well for you.
Oh yeah. See, here's my thing about 49ers, and if I was a 49ers fan like you are, Eric, which I know you are, so I'm not talking about you because I know you are already here when it comes to college training. For me, if I was a 49ers fan, I would be so irate because
I
it's
said
so
that in green room.
hard. It's so hard to have a team that is well oiled like this and sustain it for a number of years before you eventually have to blow it up. And they have been getting away with murder,
Yes.
keeping the nucleus of this team together for this long.
Thank you.
But because it's inevitable, because it's the NFL, it happens. It's inevitable. When this team ultimately has to get blown up, and there's no championship that came out of this roster, dog.
Oh yeah, you gotta go from the top down.
Oh
but
my God.
Here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. Because that was one of the topics I wanted to talk about as we get into the San Francisco 49ers. The issue is that I always mispronounce this man's name, and I apologies. Parag Marath is basically the CFO of the 49ers. He's the capologist. The reason why this team has been able to stay together for so long and still have, because right now the 49ers are top 10 in cap space going into the season right now. A lot of people wouldn't believe that with all of the big names, but they are like, I want to say 7th in the league. And just off the top of my head, I know they top 10, but that's 7th in the league in cap space because of this man. Now, that being said, the issue that I have with San Francisco is that they tend to overpay guys when they don't have to. And that comes from their procrastination in doing deals with their big name players. The earliest that they've done a big name contract with a guy has been like late July. Fred Warner, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa. And now Brandon Ayuk's going to get his deal, but it may not be until August. Hell, Nick Bosa didn't get his deal till the week before the first game. And here's the thing, and we talked about this ad nauseum off the air, but it was the first time we're talking about it on the air. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Thank you.
That's the thing. So I'm gonna just zero in on this Brandon Ayuk thing for right quick, because I believe they'll get a deal done, but a lot of this, what's going on right now, is unnecessary. What they're going to have to pay Brandon Ayuk is unnecessary because of their procrastination in basically paying their big name players. While the market is fluid, you sitting there like a rock. The market flowing. So, and these are rumors, but Brad Ayuk appeared on the Pivot, and he talked about, he said they offered me somewhere in a contract somewhere in the neighborhood of $26 million, and I wanted around 27, a little bit more than 27. Now the other rumors come out says about 25. They offered that to him early, and he said he wanted 27. Now think about that for a minute. This is before the receiver market blew up. This is before Michael Pittman's deal. This is before Nico Collins' deal. This is before Amon-Ra St. Brown's deal. This is before AJ Brown
and Devontae Smith.
This is before all their deals. The 49ers offered 25. He wanted 27. We talking about $2 million. $27 million is pretty cheap right now. In July 2024, $27 million is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, they standing there. Well, we'll talk about it later. Instead of saying, you know what, we'll give you the extra $2 million that you want. We wanted to pay you 25. You want 27. You'll settle for 27. We're gonna give you this 27 because that's foresight. That's knowing and going and looking at all these other receivers that's about to get deals and realizing that the market's about to explode. So you corner the market before the market gets big. And you say, you know what, let's go ahead and give him 27 right now. That's that's more than what we wanted to give him. But in the long run, in the long game, we got a deal. But they didn't do that. They sat there. What?
You know what they could have done? Sorry to cut you off. They could have done a $2 million worth of incentives.
Yeah, but the thing is like he wanted his money like on the paper.
And
Like
I get it. I get it.
and they could incentive him $2 more million on top of that 27. So here's
But
the
that
thing.
too.
So here's the thing. All these other guys got their deals. Some of those guys, Brandon Ayuk is a better receiver than. And some people might argue, like, well, Amon-Ra St. Brown got this many yards and this many touchdowns. Number one, Amon-Ra St. Brown has way more targets than Brandon Ayuk. Way more. Brandon Ayuk barely got over 100 targets this season, but still got 1,300 yards. Now, if you do the math and you figure out if Brandon Ayuk gets the same amount of targets or close to the same amount of targets as Amon-Ra St. Brown or some of these other guys, then you're looking at a 1,700-yard receiver probably. Easily. But you get 1,300 yards with very few targets on a run-first offense. He's a top 10 receiver. He's top 10 in every receiving category except targets. He's 23rd. So, but the 49ers, I digress my point. This is why John Lynch and them get on my nerve, is the fact that they're going to have to pay him. They're going to have to start at about 28 to get him back to the table and then work. Because I think he wants around 30. And this is just me speculating. But I think he wants around 30 because he knows he's not as good as Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase and those guys, but he knows he's better than a lot of these other guys. So 30, they're going to have to find somewhere between 28 and 30, to pay him. Are they going to do it? Yeah, they probably will. Parag Maraf is probably going to work that out and structure that contract where it's not going to even hurt him this year or even next year so Brock Purdy can get his deal. But they play loose and free with a lot of their big name extensions when if they go ahead and strike while the iron is hot, they could pay millions and millions less than what they would have to pay. Deebo Samuel's deal about 2 years ago. Christian Kirk signed a deal while Deebo was waiting on his. Deebo walks in there and says, man, you seen Christian Kirk? And we've talked about it on the air. Christian Kirk, we said there was 20 receivers in the league better than Christian Kirk. Remember that, Brandon? You had a list.
I wrote up the list.
It was the easiest list we could have recited.
Right. Deebo Samuel just coming off of a 1,700 all-purpose yard season. And he's like, hey, this dude just got XYZ. And again, shout out to Trent Baalke. I hate you. I'm going to fight you if I ever see you. But Trent Baalke gave Christian Kirk that deal. Deebo walks into John Lynch. I was like, hey, man, I'm way better than this dude. I need more money. But had they struck when the iron was hot, they could have cornered Deebo with a more lucrative deal for the team. Now, because they're able to kind of do cap gymnastics the way they are, it's not going to be that much of a problem, but it could be a problem down the line if they don't stop doing it. They got to stop procrastinating on these big. As soon as this guy's deal is coming up, it's coming up. Come on, sit down. Let's talk about what you want. Okay, we're going to give you this. Okay, let's meet in the middle. You good with that? We good with that. Here, sign. Hit a pen. That's it. And be done with it in March. That's when you need to be done. Brock Purdy's got a deal coming up at the end of next year. My Lord, if Brock Purdy has a season any remotely like he had the last 2 seasons,
he's looking for 65.
Blank check.
He's looking for 65.
Look here. If his season is even if they go to the playoffs and win at least 2 playoff games, let's say they go to the NFC. God forbid that they don't make it to Super Bowl, something crazy happens or whatever like that. But let's say they get in the playoffs, they win a divisional round, they get to the NFC Championship. Let's say they lose to, I don't know, Detroit, Green Bay, something like that. You will be talking about a quarterback who has gone every year he's been a starter, has gone to the playoffs and won playoff games. Every year he's been a starter.
And some would say the year before last, if he didn't get hurt, y'all might have actually won the chip.
Thank you. So you talk about it. Now, let's say his trajectory keeps going up. Let's say he turns it up a notch this season and actually wins the MVP. Let's say he turns it up a notch. let's say he turns it up even more of a notch, and they actually do make it back to the Super Bowl and win it. Oh my God, you got to back up. Brinks truck too small. They need an 18-wheeler.
Because people ain't seen Brock Purdy in college. You ain't even got the best game out of Brock Purdy yet.
No, he's getting better. That's the thing. And then when you talk about divisions, and we're going to make our picks in a minute, and it's kind of, if you've been paying attention for the last 50 so minutes, you already know what. Yeah, I think we're going to have another consensus one this time. But we always talk about, well, who has the best quarterback in the division? San Francisco. And if you want to go even further, who got the best quarterback room? It's San Francisco, then it's Seattle, because I like Sam Howell behind Geno Smith. But then you got Josh Dobbs behind Brock Purdy, who's good enough to win 2 or 3 games.
Yep.
So they got the best quarterback room along with the best roster. So if nobody gets hurt, and again, injuries is the thing. That's the only way San Francisco does not win this division is because of injuries, because they get some key injuries, like let's say, God forbid, Bosa goes down or something like that. Something crazy like that. Then everything, all bets are off. It's kind of like when we talk about the Jets last year, and then Aaron Rodgers goes down week 1, and it's like, oh, I think they would have won that division if he'd have played. But they're the best team in this division and the best team in this conference if they're healthy. And we're not the only people right here on Just a Fan podcast that's saying that. If you go and look at a lot of the prognosticators, they got San Francisco winning division going away. Now, going down the road, when you talk about playoffs, it's a whole nother story, because we don't know if Kyle Shanahan is going to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has had the ability, realistically speaking, we were talking about this off the air. If Kyle Shanahan would have had a proctologist on the sideline to remove his cranium from his anus, he should have at least 3 Super Bowls.
I was just about to say 3 Super Bowls should be on his finger.
He should have 3 rings on his fingers, because all 3 of those losses, and I'm not even really 4, because I'm not counting the Atlanta one. I'm just talking about his tenure in San Francisco.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah, if you want to count Atlanta, he should have 4 rings. Yeah, he should have 4 rings if you want to count Atlanta. But as a head coach, he should have at least 3 if he knew how to pull his head out his behind at the late stages of important games. I'm gonna start with this last Super Bowl they lost, and we talked about it last week. How do you abandon the run for most of the third quarter, and you have the best running back in football? You have run
player in football.
You have run him into the ground the entire season unnecessarily. There have been games where they have been just lamb blasting people, and Christian McCaffrey's still in the game. And I'm like, why is he still in the game? And you got 3 or 4 running backs behind him just going, oh, can I get a carry? J.P. Mason averages 6 yards a carry when he gets on the field. He just don't get carries.
Mm-hmm.
That's a closer if you ask me. It's fourth quarter. We up by 2 scores. Put J.P. Mason in and watch him run through people and keep that clock burning. But you run Christian McCaffrey into the ground the entire season. Biggest game on the line, Super Bowl, third quarter, you still have a lead, and you don't give Christian McCaffrey any carries until late in that quarter. That's how they lost that game. It should have never went into overtime. The best way to stop Pat Mahomes is not try to play defense against him. It's to keep him on the sideline.
Keep him off the field.
Keep him on the sideline. That's the best way to beat Pat Mahomes. That's how you have to beat him. You cannot go – you can put together a great defense. He's still going to find a way to pull a rabbit out of a hat because he's a magician. But the best way to keep a magician down, keep him off the stage. So he won't pull a rabbit out of a hat.
I've said this multiple times on this show. I don't recall a time that I watched a quarterback play football and I don't know what his weakness is. I don't know what his weakness is.
And he did it with a lackluster receiving core last year.
Exactly.
That's a scary thing too.
That's what's scary.
So if you know he has the ability to do that, keep him off the field. You got the best running back in football.
Married with the best run scheme in football history. I just said it.
Thank you. So there's that Super Bowl. That's this one that just passed. Okay, the year before, you got a backup tight end blocking Hassan Reddick one-on-one against your rookie quarterback who's still learning the game. And he's like, well, he should have stepped up in the pocket. No, he's a rookie quarterback, but you got a backup tight end, not George Kittle. Not George Kittle. You got a backup tight end blocking Hassan Reddick one-on-one, who was
one-on-one.
That year was one of the most incredible pass rushers in the league, and your quarterback gets hurt. And it was proven the next year that the Eagles weren't even the same class with the 49ers when they finally saw the Eagles and everybody was healthy. I mean, Debo put on a doggone show just because they had a quarterback. You know, go back another year, okay? That was the year that they lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship. Debo Samuel has been carrying your team all year long. It's the fourth quarter. You need a big play. You know how many touches Debo Samuel got in the fourth quarter of that game in the NFC Championship? One. He got one touch in the fourth.
Touch.
And obviously, Debo Samuel has been a Rams killer. He's killed more Rams than the Israelites, okay? All right? When they sacrificed them, okay? So it's like, bruh, like, what are you going to go away from that? Back up another year. You back in the Super Bowl again. I'm sorry. That was the year of the injury. That's 2020. 2019, that Super Bowl. You up by 10. It's 6 minutes left in the game. Raheem Mostert is your running back. He's averaging 5 yards a carry in that game. Keep Pat Mahomes on the sideline. Nope. I'm going to put the game on Jimmy Garoppolo's back. You lose the game because Pat Mahomes comes back. Pat Mahomes does what Pat Mahomes does. So to your point, Tristan, what you were saying earlier in the show, the 49ers only beat themselves. Period.
And like I said,
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
But like I said, y'all the best team in the conference in the last 5 years.
Yes. And we've been held back by a coach. And here's the thing, we talked about it offline. Kyle Shanahan is in that sweet spot where he's better than almost everybody else, but not good enough to win the big one.
Mm.
And you're in that coaching conundrum because it's like you can't get rid of him because you can't find nobody as good as him. But you want to get rid of him because he can't win the big one.
Oh, he'll eventually get rid of it because you know who the two names that came to my mind that were just like that?
Mark Levy?
Mark Levy. Oh, no, so 3. Mark Levy.
Okay.
Marty Schottenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Reid with the Eagles. It was the same thing. It was like, oh, my God, these guys are geniuses. But they cannot give me the championship. And
Marv Levy went to 4 straight Super Bowl. But you know what? That first one, man, you talking about losing off a missed game-winning field goal. Ouch.
But that's why they thought that the following year that they would have it, because it was like literally just the fate of the football guys. It was like that for that first Super Bowl. But I'm saying this to say, like, if the 49ers get to a place where, again, it's inevitable. You cannot keep a team this long like this.
You really can't.
If the team, when it happens and they get dismantled and there's no championship, you gotta dang near do a 30 for 30 about this because it's gonna be unreal.
He's right.
Kind of roster.
Right now, the Niners are like the Buffalo Bills of the 2000s.
Yeah.
That they have got to break this curse.
The 2000s or the 90s?
The 90s.
The 90s, excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute.
The 90s. No, I'm saying the Niners are the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. We talking about the Buffalo Bills of the
Jim Kelly era.
Of the Jim Kelly era. The 90s Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Like Mr. said, I ain't the 90 through the 94 Buffalo Bills. I ain't Dennis Rodman. I ain't Holyfield Hill.
Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith. Oh my
Smith.
God.
That roster was incredible.
Steve Tasker.
Like how you be a Pro Bowler just as a special team every damn year?
Yeah.
You got all pros on 3 levels on defense, offense, and special teams.
All 3 phases.
All 3 phases of the game. So that's my point. So
I would have that too if they let Debo punt return.
Yeah, And now here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. The new kickoff rules. There's a high probability you could see Deebo Samuel back there at kick return because of the way kick returns are done now in the NFL. It's almost like a design run play.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, that's right.
So you could see someone like a Deebo Samuel, and that changes the game because he may not score, but he gonna put you in some damn good field position to start a drive. So that will be interesting. But I didn't even talk about the additions to the 49ers. I like Ricky Pearsall, but the 49ers, and y'all know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers in the first round should have drafted a tackle. Period. You need a tackle. And people are like, well, Ricky Pearsall is going to be Deebo Samuel's replacement. Let me tell you something, son. You can't replace a Deebo Samuel, okay? You can't. What he does, you can't. Ricky Pearsall, they say he's doing good in camp. That's great. But what happens when people start actually hitting him? That's the question. But, they like, well, they going to let Deebo walk and da-da-da-da. Okay, go ahead and let him walk and see what happens. But that's another, we'll cross that bridge next year. But the thing is right now, this team is still poised to win the NFC. They could easily win the NFC, barring injuries, but they'll only go as far right now as the front office and Kyle Shanahan take them. Now, once they get Brandon Ayuk in camp, then it's only as far as Shanahan's takes them. Shanahan is going to have to pull an Andy Reid. He cannot be Marv Levy. He's got to be Andy Reid and actually realize the mistakes of his past and basically say, okay, I'm going to do it right this time. I got another opportunity. Let's get it. Because that's what's been the problem. It's been Kyle Shanahan's ego. Because y'all heard me say it before. He's the dumbest smart kid in the class. Period. Like, he's the one that if you put up a quadratic equation on the chalkboard, he can write it. He can answer off the top of his head. But if you ask him what 2 + 2 is, he gonna tell you apple.
But Eric, let me ask you a question. Don't he still talk to his daddy? Ain't his father still like some kind of like senior advisor or something over there?
Yes. And
Your father,
his dad's unofficial.
Your father did exactly what but people that have you as their coach have begged you to do. When he was with the Broncos and he realized, okay, we got John Elway, but John Elway's a little longer too. But this guy number 30 behind him, we just gonna run him to the dirt. Ran him to 2 Super Bowls back to back.
Jumped on his back and rolled.
You watched your father do it.
Yeah,
he did it.
Sure did.
Yes, sir.
You're doing the complete opposite of what your father did.
The complete opposite.
The complete opposite.
With Kyle Shanahan, again, it's an ego thing. He has to win a certain way in his mindset. And it's like he's got to break out of that. I don't want to win unless it's a certain way. I want to win with my genius passing and showing that I can do this with my quarterback. No, just win the damn game. You go down in history as a great coach. It don't matter how you win it, just win it.
Listen, we know you can design stuff. You and Mike McDaniel can both design stuff.
Right.
But you gotta just get out of your own way and just do what your father
did. Let your players play. Stop trying to outsmart the field and let your best players be the best players.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
point blank period.
So let's go ahead because we're over an hour now. Let's go ahead and get to our picks. My 4th place team is Arizona Cardinals.
Same.
Yeah. So we have Arizona at the bottom.
I mean, there's nothing to say.
Too many holes.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is the quarterback, and until he improves his craft, that's a problem. And like Trisha just said, too many holes.
On that roster. Yeah.
Steve sent his picks. He also has Arizona at the bottom. For 3rd place, I have Seattle.
Correct.
Okay. And so does Steve. So for 2nd place, I have LA.
Wait.
You got the Rams 3rd, Brandon?
Brandon?
Because
just tell us your reason.
See, I it's hard for me. I'm still having a hard time even picking number 3 because my problem. Look. I know Geno Smith's the quarterback.
I don't put Geno over Matt Stafford.
Huh?
I don't put Geno over Matt Stafford.
No, I agree.
It's that easy for me.
But I put Seattle's secondary and defense over the Rams defense.
Not with that division. You need something on your division. Your
not after
defensive
losing
line.
Three linebackers, all 3 linebackers.
Yeah, your front 7 got to be something in that division. It's got to be something.
You're right.
They lost all 3 linebackers.
It's got to be something. Because we could say what we want about Kyler Murray. That division has 3 dynamic, because I don't count Geno as a dynamic player at quarterback. That division has 3 dynamic QBs. You have to have something in your front. You have to have something in your front.
You're right. Okay.
Okay, so we all have Seattle in 3rd place, right?
Yes.
And we all have LA in 2nd place.
Yep.
Okay, so that obviously means that this is the 2nd year in a row that we've had a consensus on this division. All 4 of us had San Francisco winning the division last year because I keep receipts. Hold on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is last year's. Okay. We all picked San Francisco to win, and they did. The only difference was, watch this. We all picked Seattle to be 2nd, and they were 3rd.
Yeah.
And the Rams were 2nd.
Okay.
And we all had Arizona as 4th. So we got the 1st and the 4th correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of the few divisions where we were all on the same page. There was no discrepancy about it. We like last year and this year. It's straight down the board. San Francisco, LA, Seattle, Arizona. And I do think LA is probably going to make the playoffs. So they'll get one of those wild card spots.
Yeah. They probably either the 6th or 7th seed.
Yeah. So, and then they'll probably have to travel to like
Detroit
and get manhandled there. Yeah. So we'll have the Stafford Bowl in Detroit again. So, yeah. So, but this is next week. Is Kyler Murray is a kick returner with a cannon. So
listen, the boy is shorter than a paper shredder.
He's shorter than the football. But the next week is our final week. We always do this. Whoever won the Super Bowl, we cover their division last. And we're gonna be talking about the AFC West next week. So that's your Chiefs, your Broncos, your Chargers, and your Raiders. Excuse me. So we're gonna be covering them, and then after that, I know that the NFL's top 100 is gonna be coming up, so we'll be discussing those, who got snubbed, who got ranked too high, all of that stuff. So again, last call. If you're an AFC West fan and you'd like to be a guest on our show, hit us in the DM, because obviously nobody was brave enough to come in here and talk about the NFC West and go toe to toe with me. And I just be, come on, don't be scared. But let us know if you'd like to be on the show, and we can go from there. Brandon, tell them what platforms we're on.
All right. So right now, currently live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. You can follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think Google Podcasts is officially gone. I think it no longer exists. So I'm not gonna mention them anymore. Like Pando said, we will be covering the AFC West. I had this up the whole time. My bad. Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy. I just now realized that. Anyway, down below, panel 316, the good guy with the black hat.
Yay.
Tristan to the side, the quarterback of the show.
Yeah.
And then Coach Williams. Hey, listen, man, at some point, I need to become a defensive coordinator, man. That's what it says. Y'all see this on here? I need to be a DC. I need to become a defensive coordinator. Eventually, I need to become a head coach, but I need to become a defensive coordinator at some point.
You can find him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, but I'm also the NFL encyclopedia. So good night. See y'all next week for the NFC. I mean, for the NFC. No, AFC West. Excuse me, for the AFC West. Peace out.
AFC best, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
They have the AFC. They have the best team in the NFL
In the league, yeah.
in the league.
No
Yep.
weaknesses.
No
Mahomes has
weaknesses.
no weaknesses.
And I got something to say about that too next week.
Hey man, I'm gonna let you do